What's up, everybody? Welcome to Common Sense, the podcast, season finale for you. Hope you guys enjoy this one, because I know I'm going to. I mean, we're probably going to offend a few people. We're probably going to gain a few followers, and I mean, I'm looking forward to this guy's fan club hopping on here, because they've all been commenting all week about how they want to be able to call in and everything else. But y'all welcome my good friend Brad McNeel to the show.
Thanks for having me, Garrett.
Absolutely, man. It's been a while since you and I have got to catch up.
It has been. It's been too long.
Other than just some phone calls here and there.
Oh, you're 15 minutes from my house now.
I know, and you party in my backyard all the time, but my phone doesn't ring.
We'll figure out how to make it ring.
Yeah. Well, man, welcome to the show. Why don't you give everybody just a little brief background, where you're from, where you grew up, a little bit about you, what you do, and then we can just get into the nitty gritty.
Well, I grew up in Beaumont, Texas, graduated from high school there, got out of Beaumont, Texas as quickly as I could. Went to college in Louisiana, graduated with a couple of degrees that I have not used ever in my life from Northwestern State University, and made my way back to Texas. Kind of bounced around a little bit. Currently, I work for a medical device company, kind of a mid-sized medical device company. I'd say probably 25 employees total, not including R&D and manufacturing.
Yeah.
And I kind of juggle a lot of balls with them. So I'm managing, I'm training, education, I'm surgical consultant on the national level. So I'm in and out of the operating rooms, in and out of teaching institutions and academics and all that now.
I thought you did something with airports, because you're always in airports. I didn't know if you just hung out at them.
They don't come to me. I got to go to them.
Yeah.
So I'm
you
traveling
travel
quite a
probably
bit.
more than anybody I know.
I travel a lot. Yeah. So it's probably going to pick up even more this year.
That's good. You're the first person I've heard say something positive about 2024 and that things might be picking up.
Well, we're optimistic, you know.
But I guess people still need surgery, so
yeah. Well, that's
not
true. You know,
stop.
and people are still getting older every day. And what I do is the old people. So we go in and that surgery will always have to be a necessity.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not one of those that. It's not like boob surgery where everybody high fives on the way out.
Yeah.
It's a save your eyesight surgery. So it's not make your eyesight better. It's save your eyesight. So it's we don't get the high fives that some of the other guys get.
Yeah.
Where they see the instant gratification after the surgery. So.
I mean, part of life. I mean, I'm debating how long I'm going to hold off before having my second LASIK, because you can only do that twice supposedly. I don't know if that's changed, but. That's why I wear the glasses now, to help prevent having that sooner, but to preserve what was actually done. Because, man, LASIK was one of the greatest things I ever did. That was so amazing to wake up the next day and be able to read back then it was, the TV was the 27-inch was a big TV. I had like a 27-inch Magnavox, and I could read the ticker at the bottom when I woke up. That was an amazing morning.
Yeah, it's that's in the front of the eye. All I do is back of the eye, the vitreoretinal surgery. So we do the sick stuff, the diabetic retinopathy, macular degeneration, detached retina, that kind of stuff. So we don't get the instant thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, the surgeons are smartest guys I've ever met, though. Too. These are the smartest of the smart, in my opinion. They're the neurosurgeons of eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm blessed to be able to work with those guys and learn from them.
Yeah, that's got to be really cool to be able to go in with the technology that you guys are representing and the equipment and machinery.
It's amazing. Everything's artificial intelligence. Everything's 3D, virtual reality. It's all on screens like this in the operating room now, wearing 3D glasses, and you're actually seeing. It looks like you're swimming around in the back of the eye.
That's insane.
As they're working on it, yeah.
That's just wild stuff.
A lot of new technology coming.
Well, we were just talking with Biz about how you and I actually met. I think the Raptor was the common thing. We're out mountain biking, pulled up, and I'm parking next to two other black Raptors that were incrementally outdoing me one by one, and then you guys came like blazing in off the trail, and then we all just instantly struck up a friendship, and
that's it.
All started with mountain biking.
Yeah, that's it. That was Brad Smith.
Yeah.
good friend of mine.
And then Chase, can't leave Chase out. Chase wasn't raptoring right then. But.
No, he was riding with us. So
yeah.
And it just kind of gelled from there. Chase and I, we were kind of early on in our relationship at that point too. So we were looking at kind of building a group of guys around us, and we wanted to make sure our next step in life included quality people that had their shit together and knew what they wanted and kind of held us to a higher standard on the flip side of it. So
yeah, that's one of the cooler meeting of a group of friends that I've probably ever had, like completely out of left field. Was not expected. I was just trying to go get my fat ass on a mountain bike and lose a little bit of weight, and was like struggling my way around the track, and then running into you guys that are now I consider a part of like one of my very close inner circles of people that, a lot of friends come and go, but like you, me, Chase, we cannot talk for 6-8 months, and then we run into each other somewhere or pick up the phone and call each other, and it's like no time has passed.
Yeah, it picks right back up.
And we have amazing conversations that you just can't have with everybody.
No, not at all. Yeah.
But I mean, we're going to go down some of those rabbit holes tonight, so you guys can really see what it's like. We're just going to let it out tonight. I mean, I can't figure a better way to end 2023 than, maybe we get into all the I was anti-Obama before anti-Obama was cool. I mean, some of these are some of my favorite stories ever.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I've changed the name of it since.
I think you've had as many Facebook pages as you've had vehicles since I've known you too.
Yeah, Facebook and I don't necessarily get along, and my OCD, my ADHD. Forces me to change gears a lot in cars too. So.
I mean, at least that doesn't go on your permanent record. I mean, because the amount of times you've been in Facebook jail, I think surpasses almost anybody I know.
I've literally had Facebook email me asking me to delete a page, and they would give me back my personal page if I did so.
Yeah.
And I just held out.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do
this Zuck stuff and this censoring of speech is like beyond me. Like, it just pisses me off. Like, I've literally had a few guests on where we've sat and talked about a sensitive subject, and not that my feed is large enough where some of these other friends' podcasts where you can really see it. So when you can see it on my page where they're like pushing it down and there's like no new followers, even the same people that have like are always on here and participating and commenting can't find my show on a certain week. Like, it's kind of like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, we have everything set to where we should be completely legit, abiding by all your little rules of it's 18 and up and whatnot, and yet they'll push you down in that algorithm somehow.
Yeah,
one way or another.
Yeah, it's smart. It's artificially fabricated to where they can dictate who sees what now.
Mm-hmm. Well, before we get too deep here, and I forget, because I know we're going to, because Brad and I are going to drink tonight. Like,
I'm already drinking.
Yeah, we're already getting after it and set down. So, what are we drinking? What are we smoking? I think this is one of y'all's favorite segments right out the bat. So, I'm smoking the Patoro Red Label. This is one of my favorites. You've got the Terra Blanche White Label. Both excellent cigars. And then if we get to the second ones, as you guys know, I think this should be one of the top cigars of the year, this Foreign Affair. This is Frankie and Luciano did a phenomenal job with this. I like this short version after I've already smoked one. And then we've also got, I got you one of the Nelson Alfonso number ones. You can never go wrong with a Nelson Alfonso. So that's what we're smoking on. If you guys want to know any more about that or you have questions about that, let me know. Drop a comment. We are checking them because, like I said, I know somebody's fan club is going to be on here most of the evening. So I'm looking forward to seeing all these crazy Cajuns and stuff with their comments and any good stories they want to bring up or questions they want me to bring up with Brad while I'm on here. You guys got him in the firing hole for once.
Yeah, a lot of them have been warned.
I can only imagine. I started seeing the first thread when you first shared the upcoming show, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be every bit as good as I thought." I've got a buddy of mine in
San Jose, California. It's from South Louisiana. He's done very well. I think he's in charge of nuclear medicine at one of the hospitals out there. And that's the first thing he asked was, can we call in?
Yeah, can we call in?
But I put the kibosh on that pretty quickly by referring to him as his nickname from college, which was Sweets. So if he wants that story
Sweets.
told.
He's putting it out there. That's free reign in my book to, like, throw it at him. You can hammer away. And then as far as what we're drinking, we both started off with the Buffalo Trace. I think you guys saw me pull this out a week or two ago on the show. This is a single barrel pick from Buffalo Trace. And then we also brought out the Bardstown Prisoner. We just cracked a fresh bottle of that. Have you had that one? I know you've...
I've not had the Prisoner, no.
Okay. That is probably my favorite one out of Bardstown to date that I've opened. That's probably like my fourth or fifth bottle of Prisoner. Like, I mean, if you find one of those, grab it. Those are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I've never had it, so I'm looking forward to having that one. This is kind of a go-to for me.
Well, what have you been drinking on lately? So you're a big bourbon guy.
Yeah, over in June, I kind of got into the whole home blend thing with my own barrel. And so I've taken a lot of my little bit left and poured it into a barrel.
Are you and the old man back to your pissing match?
Not
Is that
yet.
what I'm hearing?
No, he hasn't made any in a while either. So, you know what? I'll stand on that. I'll die on that hill. That's some of the best whiskey I've ever had is some of that homemade stuff in the garage.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
I mean, when somebody knows what they're doing, it's definitely good.
Again,
I remember the bottle you brought me that I think you finally, like, you didn't like it at first, and you're like, this is trash. I'm about to dump this out. And then you put it in, like, a 5-liter barrel that you had.
aged it.
And aged it for a while, and that, like, made it pure gold.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got into the recipe part of it, the mash bills and all that, and kind of tinkered with the mash bills and really dialed that in. And once I got happy with my mash bill, I took it to the science fair project in 10th grade and really figured out how to, found out where my cuts were.
What'd you end up going with mash-wise?
Rye.
Rye. Yeah, I'm a huge rye fan. I think you're going to see a lot of things in the next year or so where rye's kind of been like the black sheep of the family for a while, and not as much rye is grown commercially.
That's true.
And I think a lot of these guys have had it for a long time, and that because it's not been like the top seller, the big names and stuff like that, a lot of guys have had rye, whereas a lot of these places are running out of like the super old bourbons and stuff like that. They're trying to catch that back up now because there was that big bourbon boom where they were selling 18-year-old plus barrels like they were nothing.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see that with rye coming up very soon. I think that's going to be the next thing. I mean, tequila's kind of coming up in there right now and floating up there to be a major player, but I think that's just part of the cycle, and I think rye is going to be the next one. I think you're going to see some, like, where you've not seen 12 and 15-year aged ryes popping out, and they're going to go for top dollar. I mean, it's going to be crazy.
Well, I've gone through all the phases. I've done the tequilas. I've done the bourbons. I did the scotches. Not a big gin guy.
I'm not either. I can't stand the juniper stuff.
Don't care for the juniper. Tastes like pine sol.
Yeah, or you're eating flowers.
Right. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. So the tequila's coming back around, I think. And scotch, it's never really gone away. But I've gotten a lot of nice scotches lately too, so I just need to get back into it.
What's something you really do or focus on networking? Because I know you keep a really tight circle of friends that I'm very proud and happy to be a part of. But I mean, what's something that you look at? I mean, I think and I know you've had to redefine friend groups here over the last few years at times, and have gone through that process. How has that been? What are some of the ways you've looked at that? Because I think a lot of people struggle with that. And
it's at the beginning, it's very hard because we're all the same guy, basically. You grow up with a big group of buddies. You go to college or the military or wherever you're coming from. You have a group of guys around you. In college, I was in a fraternity, with 75 other guys, and as close knit as that 75 were, you have those groups of 10 or 12 that are even closer.
Yeah.
Get out of college, you're in the workspace. You've got the folks you work with. You want to separate that so that it doesn't blend over too much.
Right.
And I made a proactive move to really kind of dwindle it down a little bit, kind of just hone it down and get those quality people in my life. And I guess my philosophy on that is you surround yourself with people who are smarter, faster, better, stronger, whatever.
Yeah.
And it holds you to a higher standard, you know. And again, Chase, we kind of did that. You know, Chase walked up to me, the first time I met him, he walked up to me and he said, man, I just moved to town. I don't know anybody. Can I get your phone number? And I looked at him and I smiled. I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
But in order to bring you in my group, I'm going to have to fire one. And I made that joke.
Yeah.
It was a year or so later, he looked at me and goes, who'd you fire? He remembered this, you know, me saying that. But
It's killing me. I got to know.
yeah, who did you fire? And he knows who I fired. But yeah, it was a proactive, you know, process of 5 or 6 guys just getting together, and we all had something in common. We all enjoyed hanging out with each other. There wasn't any drama. There wasn't any of the nonsense. It was just guys hanging out,
right,
relaxing. We trucks, bicycles, bourbon, cigars, you know, that kind of stuff. And
yeah, everybody in these groups works hard and plays hard.
That's exactly right.
But they all do stuff to elevate each other and to be there for the other one. It's not always just one calling the other one or texting to check in. Like, that's one of the things I've always loved. You know, this is the first year Chase hasn't participated in our fantasy football league.
He's been busy.
Yeah, he's been busy. He's been working his ass off like Chase does. Misty's been plowing away at keeping him on the grind.
Well, they're doing well though. He's got he's done quite a bit this past year.
But I haven't got to socialize with him much because we had a lot of banter going on in the fantasy football.
In fact, last night we were on a text talking about a Cody Jinks concert in May. So that's our next.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing that. You guys need to go too.
In auto.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
I just saw that post. There's Godsmack is doing an acoustic tour too right now.
That'd be a good one.
I think the closest they're coming is either Austin or Oklahoma City. I can't remember which one, but I think I'm definitely going to try to get tickets to that.
See, I saw Godsmack open up for Stained in 1996.
Yeah, I saw Godsmack it was about 96 when they were still playing in the circuit outside of Boston when I lived in Connecticut.
Yeah.
And that was right when like their first album that they put out was like, they were still like handing out CDs. As a matter of fact, when they added the song that really made that album, I can't remember the name of it right now, but they added it on a separate little CD and like kind of just taped it to it. And it was being sold at this like comic book CD store all over New England. And that's how they got it out there. And it just started blowing up. Like it sat on the shelf for a while. And then all of a sudden everybody was like, who is Godsmack? Like, what is this? Like,
and now you've got all these bands on YouTube.
Yeah, and it's just amazing. I just watched his documentary recently. He just released a new one, Sully did, and it's awesome.
He's multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah.
Plays it all.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a bunch of those guys like that just...
Foo Fighters is coming, too. That's another one I want to see.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of them. We typically, we see quite a bit. My wife and I, we probably see 12 to 15 concerts a year just to...
Yeah, you guys knock a lot of things off your list. Like, I love the little Texas, like, what to do in Texas thing you posted last week or this week, or it's like, these need to be on your Texas bucket list thing. And I was like, I've done like a third of these, maybe a little more. It's like, now I'm going to have to like step this up and like knock some more of these off.
I knocked a bunch of them off as a kid, so I kind of counted those, but I need to go back and revisit. Those are fun.
Yeah, those are good.
I like
times.
lists like that. I like the best margarita, the best hamburger, the best taco, the best place to. We'll find those kind of lists, and then again the OCD kicks in, and it's time to go knock them all off.
You are one of those people that does not half-ass anything. Like, you're either all in like me, or you're not interested at all.
You cannot go in it half-ass.
I mean, whether it's guns, cars, music. I mean, we just started talking about music a little bit, but I mean, you make me extremely jealous every time I see you post a guitar picture. I think about all the guitars I've sold over the years. Like, I have one that I touch about once a year, maybe. Like, I need to buy new strings for it. Like, that's how bad. Like, I don't even think you could tune this thing right now. But, like, where did the love for music start for you? Because you're like me. You listen to everything, but you also play. And you're like, I've heard some of the stuff you've actually put down of your own, too. And I saw a post a while back. You do need to, like, I think you need to revisit that and finish some of that. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I probably need to get back and I need to hook it all back up and get the home studio back up and running. So that's the first step. You know, right now I'm just kind of plugging straight in.
Enjoying the married life.
Yeah, enjoying the married life. Once we get everything squared away with storage and all that, I'll figure out how to get all that studio hooked back up and kind of get into it again. The guitar thing for me, it was or the music thing in general, it really was just growing up with, you know, in the house and hearing Daddy play Willie Nelson, you know, Waylon Jennings, that kind of stuff as a kid. Mom listened to some of the hippie stuff, Mamas and Papas. So I heard it all. But for me, if I had to blame anyone, it was Ace Frehley from Kiss. He's the reason why I picked up guitar. And then a couple of years later, it was Randy Rhoads. He was the reason why I had to go take lessons.
Yeah.
That was it.
What's your favorite guitar you have?
The one I've got 2 or 3 that are top favorite.
One I wish I still has. I have 2 that I wish I still had. I wish I had my very first, which was my Joe Perry Les Paul limited edition. I sold that for a dirt bike because I didn't like the guy giving me lessons when I was about 12. And then,
well, you had a Les Paul at 12 years of age.
Yeah, you know how long I worked to get that thing and how many lawns I mowed and leaves I bagged to, like, I think that guitar was, I want to say it was like $800 back then.
Probably, yeah.
It was $700-800, and I saw one at Guitar Center about 5-6 years ago, and it's like, it's over $25,000 for that thing, in
probably so.
Mint condition.
Yeah.
And then my 56 custom shop Les Paul.
Well, see, you had money tied up in yours. I don't necessarily have that much money tied up in mine. I've got
all my
favorites,
other ones were,
and the favorites are more sentimental than anything. The one I'll probably die with or be buried with will probably be the Charvel. I've got an 89 model or 90 model Charvel Model 750 XL, which was basically touted as the Les Paul killer when it came out. Got that one. The year it came out, I had just spent $1,300 or $1,400 on the previous year model Charvel, and that meant sacking a lot of groceries to catch back up. So
I can understand that. I would say outside of those, just because those are money guitars, but like just kick-ass guitars. My favorite like that I had was an Ibanez that I took and had tricked out, and I had them put humbuckers in an Ibanez. And had it fretted, had the frets worked on and stuff like that. And that guitar was sweet.
Yeah, it just depends on the mood, which one I pick up, and what I want to play. You know, if it's Guns N' Roses and picking up the Les Paul, you know, that kind of thing. If it's something bluesy, I'll pick up one of the Strats. You know, if it's something heavy, there's the Jacksons. You know, there's the Deans. I've got Dimebag's guitar. I've got the Jackson Warrior. I've got Randy Rhoads Flying V. You know, his RR1. I've got the signature model of Phil Collin from Def Leppard. I've got his guitar. One of 10 in the world. I've got that one.
That's badass.
Yeah. That one came to me in a very, probably the most inopportune time. I remember putting a down payment on it, an order, because it was custom built. There was 10 of us that went in on it, and it took a year and a half or 2 to actually come to fruition. And I just moved to Dallas, Texas, and I remember moving here, getting a huge, nice mortgage payment, and then losing my job.
Oh man!
And the week I lost my job was the week the music store called me and said, "Hey, you owe us this amount of money for this guitar." So I had to make a decision. So
rather than pay out of the club for that,
rather than pay mortgage, I bought a guitar that month. So but I still have it. You know, it's one of those I'll never get rid of, and it's hot rodded too. It's been hot rodded since. It's just kind of it's the neat thing about guitars. You make it yours. You can take any guitar off the shelf and make it yours. And you really don't need to spend that much money on them either.
Yeah, you can really play around with them as long as you go to the right person to help you tweak them.
I've got a guy in Fort Worth, Texas, a guy named Kevin Easton, and unbelievable. He goes back to the 80s with Charvel, before FMIC, before Fender bought him and all that. He was the guy that put them all together, kind of did quality for him in Fort Worth. And
nice.
He's phenomenal. Can't speak enough about how well and how good and how extensive he is as a guitar tech. He's done them all. I think he's done all of Anthrax, Quiet Riot, all those guys back in the 80s at one point or another. Yeah. So he does all mine. He makes a bad guitar really, really good.
Yeah, I'm sure he's one of those guys, like where you see the videos, Zach Wild, like playing some guitar in Walmart and turns it into
I don't even know if he really considers himself a very good guitar player.
Oh, really?
No, he's just the luthier aspect.
Okay.
The guitar tech aspect. I mean, that's where the guys that can play really well, they make sure he's got their guitar in his hands.
Yeah,
he's
really
one of
cool.
those
I
guys.
think we're going to do an episode early after the first of the year. We've got some cool stuff getting lined up for everybody, but one I'm going to do, a good friend of mine, very amazing musician, who's offered to try and bring his really good friend with him. I'm not going to name drop yet, but it's going to be really cool. All I'll say is these guys are like North Texas guys, and they're he's part of a very, very big band that hopefully they're going to do this, but they want to do an episode on Americano.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Like do some Gary Clark stuff and like really go through that and do some songs, talk about it, go through the history of it, and expose people to a little more of that. This guy's one of my favorite people to sit around at the cigar lounge and talk with. He's also a home builder, so we have a lot in common. We need to do an episode just where we talk about construction and go down that rabbit hole. But I really want to do this Americano one. Like, I think when we kick off the other podcast, it's going to be more music based.
Yeah,
that's probably when we'll release that one. But I'm looking forward to it. I think
that'd be fun.
Really cool. So what? You're a big gun guy too. So how'd you get into this? Because I remember you talking to me. We've gone to the range together a few times and gone on a few hunts together.
Yeah. It started as a kid playing with BB guns and 22s and just kind of growing up around it. And then did some training with a couple of guys who knew what they were doing, and that kind of bit me. And it was the long range stuff at that point. It was everywhere from close quarter combat training to, clearing a building, clearing a room, to sitting down and making an entire spa day.
Yeah.
At a long range place. In fact, the next one, I was just talking about this past week. My plans are the mile long shoot next time. So I think I'm going to sign up for that and go ahead and get the mile long so I get the dog tag. It's all about the trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm going to have to get in on this because I love my Creedmoor and I need to play around with it a little more, and I need to find a range where I can go do something. So I remember you guys used to talk about, what was it, Top Gun all the time?
So they closed.
I know they closed it down. Man, that sucks.
That killed us.
Yeah.
They killed us. A friend of mine, he was tied in with those guys and was building and still is building a lot of rifles, and does all of the dope charts and building rounds and all that for these custom rifles. And that's where he took all of his stuff out to dial it all in. And that's who helped me build my rifle. I started picking his brain a little bit about what do I need, what would you suggest and all that, and sold a motorcycle and had a bunch of cash sitting around and dumped it into a bench rest rifle. And it's,
optical
sub MOA. Yeah, it's one of those
ridiculous.
That on a cold morning with heavy, pressure air around you, you can actually see it cut through the air. It looks like something out of the Matrix.
That's insane.
And, yeah. So, but it's one of those days where you may only take 10 or 12 shots the entire day too. It's send your wife to the spa and you go out there and you've got all day just to kind of decompress, relax after a long week, and you hang out, with a bunch of like-minded guys. And that club was a pretty cool club because it was kind of semi-private.
Yeah.
So it was being ran by former military, LEO.
Yeah.
And you could go out there, but as soon as you acted, gangsta, you held your gun wrong, you were asked to leave. And it was that simple. You know, it was well policed and self policed. Everybody got along. Everybody had a good time. Learned a lot. You know, laying down next to the guy that had been doing it for years by way of military or by way of contract after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You make friends with some of those guys, you can learn a lot.
Yeah, they're fun guys.
I mean, I've started making friends with some of these guys and trying to go down that road a little bit more myself. And it's mind blowing. Just the stories.
The stories.
Yeah. Just sitting on a range with one of those guys and them starting to open up. Because, I mean, like, it never fails. Some of these guys are the most quiet ops guys in the world.
They're preachers now.
You get them out there, man, and, man, they will let it go, man. That's their sanctuary, man. Like, they will.
He's a soft-spoken preacher.
Yeah.
That's not what he used to be, though.
Yeah.
You know.
It's funny how that all ties in. I mean, like, guns, Jesus, and jiu-jitsu. I mean, like, I can't name 3 things that says, tell me your special ops without telling me your special ops.
Yeah, I can't. You know, that's the one thing is jiu-jitsu I've never gotten into. I probably need to, but I'm too old now, and it hurts. I don't want to get folded up like a pretzel.
Yeah, I'm kind of.
I've got buddies that do it, and nothing but respect. But man, if I'm already on the ground, just fold me up. I'm done. I'm too old for that.
My older brother owns a jiu-jitsu gym over in Plano, and when we first started getting to know each other, it's my older half brother. I don't even know if you and I've got to have this conversation, but yeah, man, he was like, "Come train," and then he was sick that morning, but still showed up to film me getting my ass handed to me. And my dumbass went and did a whole workout with my training partner and did arms, and then showed up at this thing not knowing how to wear a gi or any of this crap. And I about passed out after the warm up, and it was brutal. Like those guys, and he has a lot of Brazilian guys in there teaching and stuff like that. And a little while back when I did that, it was a little more hardcore. They were kind of like finding their place between family and MMA. And, man, some of those Brazilian guys, man, they want it to be like 105 while you're in there training. Like, they got that heater cranked up. You want to die, man. Like, if you're out of shape, like, and they'll tell you, like, well, I kept saying, I got to get in better shape before I come do this again. Well, like, you can get into a little bit better shape, but I mean, unless you're just in there doing that and just getting used to that,
you never get used to it.
You ain't going to. Like that's a different animal.
Yeah. I've got, like I said, I've got buddies that do it. I hear the stories. Their sons are doing it now, and it's great. It's a great philosophy. It's a great way of doing martial arts.
Yeah.
But I don't want to find myself in a situation where I ever have to actually do that anymore.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you on that.
Yeah. I'm just done. But they Krav Maga.
That's way too much for me. That's a whole nother level though. Like jiu-jitsu is here, and Krav Maga is like beat the shit out of you, John Wick style,
and
like
walk away.
Over here.
Yeah.
Like,
I took that for years, and I enjoyed it. But I basically took it just to just for as a get off me kind of technique. That's all it was just a get off me.
Yeah.
In the threat, walk away kind of thing.
Yeah.
And enjoyed it. But again, it takes a lot of time out of the schedule to maintain it, and I don't have the time.
Got to limit your hobbies at some point.
I've got to pick it. I can't do it all.
You give a good effort at it, though. I'll give you that.
It's things have changed now. I mean, I got 2 boys and everything else.
Traveling married man.
Yeah, it's all different now.
I haven't even got to meet Misty yet. I can't wait for this.
You'll get to meet her.
I'm super excited.
She couldn't show up tonight.
She was going to come up tonight, but ended up having the kids, so
yeah,
it didn't
she's
work
got the boys tonight. So
Sarah's got to meet her. I think I'm the only one that hasn't so far.
Misty's phenomenal. I'll say that. She's a phenomenal woman.
I remember when you first started dating her.
Yeah. I've known her forever.
Yeah.
I've known her since 1992. 92. Probably moving into 93.
Yeah, how'd y'all meet?
College. Yeah. I think looking back, she's probably the one that got away.
She knew you in college and agreed to marry you.
In college.
This is scaring me even more.
Yeah.
Back when you pissed away Weller 107 Gold Vein like it was a Budweiser.
That's before anybody knew what it was. No one would drink it. I was the only one buying it. Everybody was scared to drink it. They had never heard of it. And
Yeah.
that's what I watched my family drink growing up, was just Special Reserve. And when I got a little money, I said, you know what, I'm a splurge, and I got the 107 Antique with the gold
what
vein.
those bottles are going for now?
I still have the bottle.
I know, but have you seen what like unopened bottles from back then are going for?
Yeah, I've had
right
guys offer me $400 for the bottle I've got.
Yeah.
That has that much whiskey in it. They've told me drink the rest of it and sell me the bottle for $400.
Yeah.
It just looks too good up there. I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah. I have a buddy that just got 2, and from
What are they?
80s.
Really?
Like I think his are like 89, 87. I could be wrong. If you're
Mine
on here,
is a
buddy,
90.
you know who you are. I'm not going to call you out, but you can
I
throw
think
that
mine's a
on.
94, 95.
Yeah, this is like an 89 or an 87. And a little old lady walked in to another buddy that he's good friends with of ours that works at a liquor store, and was like, "Hey, my husband just passed recently, and I found a couple of these bottles in the liquor cabinet that, I mean, I know they're old. They should be worth something, you know. Would you know anybody that would be interested in buying this stuff?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got a buddy." And he calls our other buddy, and he went and snagged both of them. I think he's going to keep and drink one, and he's selling the other one that'll pay for both bottles easily. It's absolutely insane, man.
Yeah, that's the first thing I bought after college.
They go like $1,200-$1,500 pop now, easy.
Yeah, I didn't.
And that's what the bourbon market's sucking right now.
Empty bottles going $4.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you gonna do with it? Refill it?
Put tea in it and set it on their bar and make it look cool.
Yeah,
Tell everybody they
with
got a dusty 107 gold vein.
I've kept it in a liquor cabinet for all these years, just dark.
Yeah.
And then every now and then I'll pull it out and sip it, and it's as good as I remember,
Yeah.
if not better now.
That's money.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want to dive into, man? Like we can go any direction you want.
Oh,
here.
it doesn't matter to me. I'm an open
here.
book. We can talk about the new wife.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are surprised that I bounced back, because it was a dark time for a little while with the ex.
It was.
Yeah. And I look at you mentioned Misty a while ago. She's kind of the saving grace in all this. She's the one that I knew from 1992, 93 that, and to kind of what you said, she's still hung in there. Knowing me then, because I've been told that, had we known each other in college, we probably wouldn't date or get married.
Oh, but Sarah and I talk about it all the time. Like because we've known each other, our families have known each other since I was 18, I think.
That goes back ways.
Yeah. So I mean, like, and we talked about it, and like the first time we met, I thought she was the younger sister. Because, like, her sister is actually, they're 16 months apart, 18 months apart, something like that. And her sister and my little brother are, like, really close friends.
Yeah.
And they grew up around each other and always hung out. And, my brother's 2.5 years younger than me. And I knew she was, like, a little bit younger than him. So when sister comes up, I'm like, she's got to be, like, 15 or 16 years old. Like, and I was 21 at the time. Well, no, she was the same age as my brother. She's only 2.5 years younger than me. So, like, we never did it, but, like, we were like, it's probably a good thing that I thought that and that we never tried, because, like, if we'd have tried to date back then, I don't think we'd have got very far in my early 20s.
Well, I was in my early 20s, and I think she was probably a freshman, sophomore. So she was 18, 19. And we crossed paths. It just never happened. Never worked out. Didn't line up. She ended up with a boyfriend. I ended up with a girlfriend. That was it. And then 30-something years later,
How'd y'all run back into each other?
I think she stalked me, man. I think she was stalking me on Facebook or TikTok or one of those.
It had to be TikTok.
Yeah, it was one of those. And
was it Match.com and you guys got magically reunited or something?
It's funny. We kind of just talked a little bit, and I was like, you know what, let's do it. So we met out at Shakerton's, had a whiskey, and sat down. She ordered a whiskey, before I got there. So I walked in, I saw a girl sitting there drinking whiskey. I was like, all right, this is starting out right.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So just kind of hit it off, and it worked out. You know, it was one of those things where, looking back, hindsight being 20/20, things happen for a reason. You know, she's got 2 handsome young men as sons, and you know, everybody's happy, healthy, and blessed. And but she's probably the one that got away back in the day too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, happy. Traveling.
I think it was super cool, like seeing all the like wedding photos and stuff like that y'all did. It's all,
you know, that's when we got
family
serious
history type stuff, and I know how big you are on history and family genealogy and all that stuff. So I thought that was really cool too.
Well, when we got serious, we got to talking about it. We were like, well, you know, we've both been married. We did it for everyone else the first time.
Yeah.
This is our time. Let's do it our way.
Yeah.
And her maiden name is Irish. My name's Scottish. So we kind of tied into the Scotch-Irish history and did a little bit more digging and research and Ancestry.com, and come to find out my ancestry is northwestern Scotland, which is the Isles of Barra, which is basically just a rock out in the ocean with one castle on it. And that's where all the Viking came over when they came over from the Netherlands and Denmark and wherever they came from, and landed in Scotland. And William Wallace, at the time, the movie Braveheart, was going around recruiting people to go to war against Britain. And come to find out, I think it was my family that were the drunk Vikings that he recruited to go to war against the British.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we were like, we got to talking about, how do we want to do it? So let's do a full-blown Scotch-Irish Viking hand fasting ceremony. And
the pictures are dope, man.
It's
like,
unbelievable.
Y'all did it.
We did it right.
You did it right.
We did it right.
Not that I would ever question that with you two.
Full kilt, full Viking gear. The guy that married us, good friend of mine, Tim Babish, my mentor in life, he shows up looking like Thor or Odin. You know,
now I know which one he was in the pictures.
Full-blown Odin, you know.
Yeah.
Had a sword, you know, long gray wig, full face paint, the whole 9 yards. Did the hand fasting ceremony. If you don't know what the hand fasting ceremony, basically it's 3 cords. One son wraps a cord over your hands. The second son wraps the second cord over your hands, and the third cord is wrapped over your hands through the guy facilitating the ceremony. And as you pull apart, the cords tie, which is where the term tie the knot came from. So we were like, oh, let's do it. And we snuck off and got married before that. We did a kind of elopement thing prior to that. This was just for us. You know,
this was
our show. And, you know, we had a good time doing it, brought in our friends and all that, and family. That was it.
Yeah.
Very short, very small in comparison to the originals. That didn't work out.
Misty on here now.
Oh yeah.
Fire away.
Yeah, she's probably sitting at home after dinner, wondering what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
But and we're planning on doing it again. So we're going to be in Scotland, April, May of next year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they've got a big ceremony in Scotland where they kind of bring in the May Fest, the seasons change, and it's big, huge bonfire out in the field, that kind of thing, and everybody gets together, awesome. And they're all ending it with another hand fasting ceremony. So it's a group hand fasting ceremony. Anybody that wants to get hand fasted, and that's fasted, not fisted, because I've got fraternity brothers. Can't wait for that party.
Yeah, when you said that, I was just, I had to look over. I was like, man, one of these guys has got to chime in here in a minute and like start firing away. I know, I can see several of them are watching. We don't have a lot of comments yet. Misty's going to start it off though.
Yeah, she's I think she was a little worried. What did I talk about?
Yeah, how far are you two going to go?
Yeah. And we'll probably go that far, and she'll be having.
We just poured the second bourbon.
Have that conversation
that
later.
You guys have seen on camera.
But she's a good girl.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet her.
Yeah, you'll like her. She really likes Sarah. Again, she wishes she could be here, but tis life.
Yeah, tis life. So what do you think about this awesome economy and political scene we have right now?
I paid $100 today for a prime rib to cook.
No, right?
I mean, come on.
Costco, 4 New York strip steaks is like $87, man.
Yeah.
I was buying the same thing a few years ago for $39.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
To make it myself. I mean, you go out and eat.
Well, and that's the thing.
Shit, it's even crazier.
It's even more, and it's not as good.
No.
You know, I firmly believe that we could cook something better back here than we anywhere you can get in Dallas, Texas. But yeah, it's that's where it's getting us, is the food right now, the cost of food. There's no way around it. You got to eat. You know, my job's pretty much recession proof, so I'm not hit that way.
Yeah.
But you know, the folks that are recession, you know, that are hit with a recession, they're feeling it. You know, construction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Construction. I mean, there's always going to be construction, but I mean, it's, you know, construction goes in cycles too. You know, I mean, just because it's been up here and climbing for well over 10 years, it feels like. I mean, yeah, like, what was it, 2008 or 9? One of those was real bad. I can't remember off the top of my head which one, but 2008 or 2009 was the last time we saw a real dip. So we've been on, what, 14 years of steady going up, and it's like each year for the last 2 years we've just watched it kind of either stay right there with not much growth, or, you know, now you're starting to see it curve. And it's like right now all the small to medium stuff that people would normally be calling in, they're just sitting on that. If it isn't lender required, city required, or an insurance something, like, especially right now everybody's closing out their books, so they're not spending any money in the commercial world right now. So the interest rates are
through the roof,
crazy. Yeah. So they're parking money that they have to for tax purposes and buying properties, but if they buy it, they're just sitting on it. They're not making the improvements. Maybe some interior stuff, but that's about it. They're not updating amenity centers, putting a new skin on it, painting it, doing all that fancy stuff.
They're holding out. Yeah, I get it. It's been like that for us. You know, the hospital systems, they have a finite amount of money, and we ask them to spend it on us. You know, yeah. It's been difficult. It's one of those things where our numbers go up every year. Our quotas go up every year.
Yeah,
we're expected to find a way to do it.
Oh, absolutely. You know? Just because it's bad doesn't mean you're not. I mean, you still have an overhead level to maintain and everything else, so you can't fall off below that too crazy.
Yeah, I've got a team of territory surgical sales managers that, you know, 3 weeks we're gonna have another conversation about how their quota's going up. Welcome to 2024. You know, It's not what have you done, it's what have you done for me lately kind of thing. You know, it's one of those things where you've always got to be ever improving.
And just so y'all know, it's not that Biz yet again forgot to bring a mic stand for himself. He's been in there devouring a charcuterie board.
Damn right.
So, you know.
How was it?
None left. Sorry, I hope you guys weren't
Yeah. Kind of figured that's how that was going to go.
Just kidding.
I'm going to have to get her to, like, start up her own thing, I think, and start selling these and, like, setting them up. I figured that's probably what you're in there doing. The famous charcuterie boards, they're back. She's back from the dead in her travels.
Man. We can do 5 more episodes right now. Let's go.
There's something to be said about a good charcuterie board. It's a work of art.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Little honey, little nuts. Prosciutto. Yeah.
And I'm really impressed, man. Like, you must have really put the hammer down on your friends, because, like, they are ghosting it right now. You must have pulled out some serious dirt.
We've got to be careful
to have the comment section this quiet right now.
What era you invite in? There's an evolution of friends.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
They're afraid they're going to get kicked out for someone new, I think. I think he made that statement. That's why he led with that earlier.
Well, that was just Sweets.
Little reminder of, you know, you can be replaced.
Sweets is like, man, I'm running nuclear medicine. Do I really want to open up this can of worms? You know, so he's he quietened down quite a bit then.
He did call you sweets if you're on here. I'm just going to remind you of that. He did bring that out earlier.
He knows why we call him Sweets. But yeah, it's kind of an evolution of it, you know. And you've got there's a mutual respect too, and those guys, they know.
Yeah.
You know, we're all grown ups. There's sitting around the bar is one thing.
Yeah.
Sitting here on
live on Facebook,
live
and
on Facebook, that's a whole different world. And we all have someone else to answer to at that point.
Yeah, that's for sure. It can happen quick, man.
So you got tattoos coming? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, man, I'm working on it. I just had my second laser session yesterday, and God, man, I haven't had a tattoo in like 20 years. That laser shit makes you really consider if you want to get another tattoo. I can tell you that right now, because that laser shit is no joke. And it gets more intense each time they do it.
So what is the rate at which it disappears? Over time, or laser.
So they have
over laser.
different packages where you can just buy somebody said my goal wasn't to completely remove the one I'm trying to remove.
Just
mainly the center part of it to get it faded enough that it doesn't alter what Colin's going to be doing or make him have to work around it too much to where hopefully you can't see that at all by the time he's done. So I started off with 3 packages. My first one went really well, man. Like, I mean, and honestly, it's the first. Getting it while they're doing it absolutely sucks. I mean, it's like grit your teeth. I made him stop halfway again, and next time I'm gonna really try just to let him knock it all out, like without stopping and putting more ice on.
Yeah,
because they ice you. Then they turn on this like -4 degree air blower thing, and it's blowing -4 degrees on your skin. And then the laser fires up. And it's like they tease you. They're like, we're going to make sure we have the right setting for you. Dink, 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 3 little zaps. And you're like, bam. Oh, that's not bad. I mean, I can tolerate that. And then she goes, I'm going to do a little line just to make sure this is what I want. All right? So the laser searches out the pigment and tries to break it up so that your body's immune system's activated then, and your body tries to remove the ink particles. That's how it works. So they do that, and then they just go to town, man. And like that intensity goes up because it's not just little cracks. Like that laser just starts automatically following your tattoo and zapping the ink. So it goes and like obviously like mine is tribal across my back. And it's light. It goes from like wispier to thicker in the middle.
Oh, where they double up.
Where they kind of doubled up and made a thicker design. So like you start getting it, it's crack your shoulders. You're feeling tingling in your elbow and your fingers and shit because it's nerves under there. So it's kind of popping that. And man, it just gets worse. And then by the time they get through halfway, she's like, "Oh, do you need me to ice some more? You want to stop for a minute?" And your brain just says, "Yep, do some more of that." Where you probably, I'm going to try to fight through that next time and be like, let's just keep going.
Well, how many more sessions do you have there?
I have one more after this in early February, and then we're going to kind of see where we're at. I go to see Colin next week. We're finally at the part where he's taking all the Photoshop together stuff, and now he's drawing it up. Like, we had it to a point now where we're not wasting Colin's time. I've had to pay, I've paid a little more just to have more sessions on the up front side because it's going to be my entire back. So I want it to be exactly how I want it if I'm going to sit for 5 to 6 hour sessions to get that done.
Yeah, it's going to be multiple. Yeah.
It's going to be an undertaking. So, you know, Colin's so great to work with, you know. I mean, first of all, he's an amazing artist, and then he really listens and sits with you and really works through it. You know, I had a really bad experience trying to get this tattoo started with another local tattoo artist, and like that really kind of pushed me back, man. Like I was really on guard about it because it was like this guy was acting like that's not how I work. You tell me what you want, and then I'm gonna do it. Like, I need to see it more, bro, because the little bullshit you put together, like that ain't it. We ain't on the same page completely yet. Like, I get it, positioning and all this stuff, and you start trying to fill space and make things big enough so that, like, people aren't standing back from you and going, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
You know, like, it's got to be a certain size and have enough detail that, like, so that kind of changes things, because, like, when you're thinking of the idea and you're kind of like, this is what I want, well, that might not how you're seeing it, and then you start thinking about it through the artist's eyes of, like, hey, man, like, I need this much space just to do this because it needs to be this size. And until you start seeing that blown up and coming together, and it's like filling in the dead spaces too, and like making
when in
that
doubt,
work.
always go bigger. You've got to go bigger on it.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we've been doing. You know, we've changed the poses in it and stuff like that and some things. So I'm super excited to go next week and really see where he's at with it, because
it's funny. We went to Hawaii this past a year before, and made appointment ahead of time for the local Hawaiian tattoo artist there.
Which island were you on?
The big one. Okay. And
my little brother's on Maui now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
That's nice. I've got another chance to go in January possibly, so I'm kind of waiting to hear from that.
If you go to Maui, let me know.
I will.
He's got a lot of badass tattoo artists he's friends with.
We walked in with a 3-month wait. You know, that's how long we set our appointment. And walked in, and the guy basically looked at us. He goes, because we emailed him everything, talked to him on the telephone, and gave him free roam. Just, you do what you want. This is what we want right here. Everything around it, you do it. And basically, it was an old fashioned, the cocktail. Mm-hmm. And I wanted all the Polynesian flower artwork and all of the tribal Polynesian stuff, their hand drawn stuff.
Yeah.
He walked in, sat down, and with a magic marker, drew it all out on our legs, and then turned around and said, "Ready."
That's cool.
And there was no stenciling, no nothing.
Yeah.
It was just done. And 3 hours later, they're a little bit different. Mine's obviously more masculine. Hers is more feminine, depending on the art.
You didn't get the cherry in yours?
I got the cherry. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the cherry in it. It needs to be the Luxardo. I think over time it'll look Luxardo-ish. But yeah, it's a beautiful artwork, you know, but you kind of it's kind of a leap of faith.
Yeah.
You know, letting those guys do that.
Yeah. And, what's up, Derek? Derek Dietrich's on here.
No, Dietrich is my old roommate from college.
Oh, we got a good one. Here we go. Yeah, what did he call you, Derek? We already heard about sweets.
I don't know if we had a name for Derek. Derek's fraternity brother. We lived in the fraternity house together.
Nice.
Yeah. So there was 3 of us in one room.
God.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
Oh yeah. It was Derek, myself, and a guy named Will Volleman, and we had to get along.
Yeah. How you just went back for the Texas Tech game, right? In Louisiana, didn't you just go back and?
That was Shreveport. Yeah. So son goes to he's a freshman at Texas Tech now. Texas Tech made the Independence Bowl, so we bought some tickets, went over there this past weekend, played around.
Oh, right on.
Got to catch up a little bit with some people and eat at the old Superior Bar and Grill.
Yeah.
Margaritas, that kind of thing. Introduced the kid that part of it. Yeah, Lubbock's Lubbock. And
I just got back from Lubbock this weekend.
Did you?
Yeah.
It was all hunting. How'd it go?
Terrible. One bird shot between 12 guys out of 2 days.
No kidding.
Yeah. 6 shots fired at one bird. That bird was dead, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I think we had some inexperienced younger guys out there that, I mean, I've never seen decoys set up like that. First day we hunted geese. Second day crane hunt. I'm definitely going to say those guys were new and didn't know what they're doing. We was like...
you see any?
Oh, yeah, they were flying over us, and they weren't coming in. They even circled us a few times. So there was something out there that they were seeing they didn't like, and we were in the most covered blinds I've ever been in on this hunt. Because we do this hunt every year. We've done it for 10 years, something crazy like that. But the second day, the crane hunt, the guy, we were like, hey, man, are you going to start calling these crane like they're flying over us, like a couple hundred at a time? Like, what's up, man? He's like, crane make a really high pitch. It's really hard to replicate.
Are they kids?
I'm like, yeah, they're young in their 20s. And I'm like, okay, so what you're telling me is you don't know how to call crane. That's why you're not calling crane. So we're just going to sit here and hope they like the decoys while we have 0 wind. It's 65 degrees almost. I mean, it wasn't quite that. I mean, that's what it got up to that day. But, I mean, it's
getting hotter.
I've froze my ass off out there before. And day one, it was raining, fog, clouds, low-level clouds. I mean, that was going to be a hard hunt no matter what. I mean, we walked through 6 inches of mud to get to the blind. I mean, it was miserable, and you froze your ass off. But, like, last year it was wet, drizzling, and 14 degrees with a 20, 30-mile-an-hour wind. So it was cold as hell last year. So, I mean, these guys try. It was kind of a bunk hunt, but it happens. Not every hunt is a limit out, blast them. I think you've been with us on one where we did pretty well.
Knocked a bunch of duck out of the air.
Yeah.
That was a good hunt. That's the last time I think I bird hunted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
The blast and cast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
Those are fun, man. That place down in Sea Drift is an amazing place. I'm a big fan of that place. I think we're going to book that again next year.
Yeah, they were nice people, too.
Yeah. Castaway Lodge.
Castaway Lodge.
Called. Castaway Lodge. Top-notch place.
That's where I met Michael, I think.
Yeah. Skinny Kenny.
Yeah.
Skinny Kenny took over. He's a cowboy now. He's a farmer.
He's a full-blown rancher.
He's a full-blown South Texas rancher now. He's chasing goats and stuff around.
He found him a little bitty goat today, I think.
I've called him Skinny Kenny for decades, and now he's a rancher.
How long have you known him?
Funny. I've known Michael since I was, 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've known him for over 20 years. Yeah. He's a good dude, man.
I like him. He's one
of my favorite people, man.
He was quiet. I didn't know what to think. He's been getting murdered
on some ads. He posts those crazy ass gifs and some comments like, Michael's an ex-Marine, and Michael has a strong I don't give a fuck. And, I mean, he will put it out there, and you can agree with him or disagree with him, and he doesn't care either way. But if you're going to come and try to debate him on it, you better come prepared, because he's very well educated on whatever opinion it is he's put out there, and he will give you the business. I mean, like, without a doubt. I mean, between you and him, I have to debate most of the time whether I can even like the post sometimes, because you guys will put it out there and you don't hold back.
I've dialed it back.
You have definitely dialed it back from the early Facebook days.
Yeah, I used to
But I used to wonder, like, where do you guys even find some of these things you post? Like, do you have, like, a special page you go to and you get it to where you can share it? Like, I know you guys aren't creating these GIFs and stuff on your own. Like,
CNN.
Where's the secret sauce? You guys are finding these things, and some of them are epic.
Yeah, I used to find all my idiotic stuff on CNN and just turn it. I'd listen to what they were telling us.
Yeah, I had Tim Young on the show, man, and he's on there all the time, and they call him, he's like I guess you'd call him a political comedian. Like, man, in his posts, like, some of this stuff, it's awesome. Like, he didn't quite go where I thought he was going to go on the show, just because he's like, man, people got to pay me. They want me to do all that. I get paid for that stuff. Like, and he does. Like, it's amazing. Like, where they get some of this, and like his stuff, like, yeah, you can definitely tell he's pulling straight things off of CNN, Fox, whatever, MSNBC, you name it, and if he finds political humor in it or can call them out, he's doing it.
Well, you got to find humor in everything, otherwise it's just going to drive you insane. And the more you watch, I unplugged about 2 years ago. I completely unplugged from the news and just got away from it.
Yeah.
And haven't really watched it other than the morning news, to find out what the weather's like and traffic's like. That's it. And it's liberated myself from it, completely.
We got Quinnell B. Strong on here now too.
Yeah, that's a guy named Brett.
I know. I see that name on your posts all the
Quinnell.
time. Okay.
Yeah, Quinnell's a troublemaker. He's the one who introduced me to Chase.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He and Chase went to high school.
Okay.
Together.
Good.
So-
Well, now that Brad's been on the show and I've had Colin on the show, maybe you guys can keep hammering at Chase. I've even said Chase and Misty can come on together. Like, however he wants to do it, but I'd love to sit down with the two of them. Like, yeah, we need to get him on.
He got to come on. I think Brett's probably going to do the Cody Jenks show with us.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Look forward to meeting him.
Yeah.
Is he one of the guys that was riding with you guys back in the day?
Yes. Yeah, but he's grown up. He's fast now.
Okay.
Yeah, he's for real.
So he can smoke you on the fat tire?
Absolutely. He can smoke us on anything right now.
It used to piss me off so much. You had that fat tire bike, and I'm like dying on my like full setup normal bike, and here you are on a fat tire bike just duffing me.
I was in good shape back then, though.
Man, that was so
different world,
horrible.
different time. Yeah, that was I love that bike. I sold it. For almost what I paid for it.
You and Chase, man. Chase would come out there, and that was like not even fun. Like, that guy's a beast.
Chase has gotten fast too,
and he's really good at golf too. Like, he absolutely kicks my ass in golf. Like, he's super frustrating to play golf with.
Yeah,
because he doesn't play a whole lot, but then when he plays, and it's like, did you ever stop? Like, I know how much you work. Like, you can't even have time to go to the driving range, and like he just comes out, pulls his clubs out, and it's like, oh man, I shot a 79 today. This really sucks. Like,
yeah, he and Brett, they play
you.
quite a bit. They're both good at golf. They've that's kind of their boyfriend time together is golf. He'll get a kick out of that. Yeah, Quanell be strong.
They got matching tattoos. And
I
stuff?
don't know if they do yet or not. Brett and I, Brett was a fraternity brother of mine too.
Yeah.
So that's how far back we go. I think he was coming in when I was leaving. And,
Okay.
Trying to think of his nickname.
He must have come in late because you were there for what, like 7-8 years?
Hollywood. I was there 6. But you can only count 3.
Okay.
Because it was just the last 3 that I was really serious, and I made all that first 3 up in the last 3. So I actually graduated a year ahead. If you net it out, with 2 degrees, and probably 3
what
to
are
6.
They in?
Finance and economics, of all things. Never used them.
That's amazing. The amount of people I know that have degrees and stuff, and what they do has nothing to do with that is amazing to me. Because I didn't go to college, so I mean, like, hearing these stories, like, but I would bet 7 out of 10 people that I sit and talk to have a degree, and what they do for a living has nothing to do with that degree.
You know, as a hiring manager, I look at these guys. They come in with their resumes, and to me, a degree, all it says to me is, I don't care what it's in. All it says to me is that you, at one point in your life, you set a goal for yourself and you completed it.
Yeah,
that's really all it is.
Right.
The reality is that your bachelor's of science degree in this or this or this, you know, unless you're just that specialized in chemistry and going to medical school or teaching, education and teaching, you know, all of these degrees out there really aren't geared towards, you know, other than getting your foot in the door. That's it. It's up to you. And at the end of the day, I'd rather hire a 6-year Marine vet or, you know, a vet in general. Those guys haven't been lied to, or they've been lied to, and they've seen the crap through it. These kids that are graduating today are being told they're going to make 6 figures first year out. They're, you know, $150,000 a year first year out.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at them going, come on now, you know, you're going to have to prove yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it both ways too. There's 2 type of vets. There's the guys that were in and were probably not in for very long. They did their time. Super commend them for that. And once they're out, anything that they had to do in the military, wake up early, be super reliable, whatnot, they want nothing to do with it. They just want to live their life however they want to live it. And then you have the others that, like, man, they're some of the most badass go-getters, and like put a task they're going to accomplish.
I need resilience.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. I need someone with an emotional quotient that's very high, that's not necessarily high IQ. I need someone that's resilient, because I'm not concerned about you getting hit in the face. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned about is how you respond to it.
Yeah.
Do you bounce back up? Do you fold over like a cheap lawn chair?
Right.
That kind of thing. Because, you know, in the especially these young kids.
Yeah.
You're 25, 26, 27 years old, straight out of college. You're coming into the operating room and you're expecting a surgeon to listen to you.
Yeah. I think Jason Klosky said it real well a couple years ago, and I just posted this little short reel from that fail and fail fast, because you're going to fail. Like, absolutely. Like, be prepared to fail and do it fast. Learn from it. Go on. Next thing. Let's go from there.
Absolutely. And
I'd rather see you fail and see where you go from there than to see you try to struggle your way through failing.
I've worked with, guys that own the records of receptions at University of Kentucky. I hired a kid straight out of University of Kentucky, wide receiver. And I told him, he's a small kid. And I looked at him, I was like, what are you, 180 pounds? Yeah. But you own all the records at University of Kentucky? Yes, sir. All right. You remember the first time you went over the middle and you got sidewinded and laid out? Yeah. It's going to happen again. And that was the question, was how did you respond to it? It's like, bounced up. Okay. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen. And these kids in college aren't being taught that.
Yeah.
They're folding up. And it's the entitlement, I guess, is so far removed. But on the flip side, as a manager, you got to manage it.
Yeah.
And
a lot of these kids are used to getting participation trophies.
You've got to show empathy in some of these younger kids and how they're thought and brought up and raised and whatever. And we have no one to blame but ourselves, really. I mean, it's us that did it. I remember when we first got the pink ribbon for the participation. And there was a red, white, and blue ribbon, a red, blue, and white ribbon, first, second, third, and then there was a pink one all of a sudden.
I remember my brother getting like second place ribbon, and my dad getting mad because he went and threw it in the trash can right after the thing. My brother's like, I don't want this. We didn't win.
Yeah.
And that was the second place. Like, that wasn't even like a participation trophy.
Every baseball team gets a ring now.
Yeah. It's crazy. They all got like replica World Series rings. Like, why are you going to make every kid think that they're like should be on some elite select team?
Yeah, they're going to
grow up. It serves no purpose. I mean, I get where a lot of the errors were made. I mean, not having kids, but I get where a lot of the errors were made because a lot of my friends, and I see this across the board, and even some of our parents, like, they didn't have a lot of things, so they wanted their kids to have everything, and they took away a lot of those life lessons and exposure to the failing and the hardships that they really needed to go through. Yeah. Now they have to go through it later in life and in different ways.
Yeah. Well, the internet, it's hidden it. It's buffered them. Mm-hmm. It's hiding behind it. They didn't have the interaction that we had.
So how do you look at teaching these kids these traits and these qualities?
I fall back on see one, do one, teach one kind of thing. That's my first step in teaching anybody is see one, do one, teach one.
Yeah.
And then I kind of gleaned from that on how successful we are with the first step of that. The kids, it's not necessarily a blackboard type of education anymore. They're into computers, and you've got to kind of tie it into it. I am fortunate that my company, we do hire young. We give kids chances. We give a lot of chances up front. And it's up to you, and I'm very clear on it. We're going to teach you to be ready. Now, whether or not you succeed at it is really up to you. We can't teach that.
Yeah.
That's internal. And, and I'm following up with surgeons on a daily basis on how they're doing. What's your expectation? What's your reaction? How do you feel about the type of service you're getting, that kind of stuff. I follow up with my surgeons when I see them at the meetings and all of that. And, that's kind of how I gauge the success of my team.
Yeah. And how do you look at the sales approach portion of that? Like, how do you work on training these kids how to be relatable and to build relationships and stuff like that?
We solve a problem. We're trying to solve a problem with a product. So we don't want to sell a product. So what we want to do is, we know there's a problem. The surgeon may or may not know there's a problem. Typically they do, they just don't want to address it. So in surgery, if we can bring up that heartburn, that problem, by bringing in a product to solve that for them, that's typically how I like to spin it. And that way it kind of takes some of the up front off of it. Kind of decompresses the situation.
Yeah.
Because we've got a product that's the only thing like it on the market. Our product. We've got products that are around it that are commodity. And we only sell our one product once. We have to depend on our commodity products around it.
Okay.
And that's the best way, is to kind of go in unassuming and teach a way around a problem.
Right.
But if you're looking at it from a consultative view, that's where you want to be. You don't necessarily want to sell today. This is a marathon. Absolutely a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a medical device. It's nice to get that free bluebird fall in your lap, but it doesn't always happen either.
Yeah.
So, but we, from a pipeline perspective, I'm very clear. Are you happy with where you are today? Yes or no? Because if you're not, it's what you did 6 months ago.
Yeah. What do we got to do to get you there?
Yeah.
Are you doing the things that are going to get you there?
Yeah.
If you set the goal, the expectations,
Start
you know
today.
what you got to do.
Absolutely.
And are you doing that day in and day out, doing the hard part?
Start today. You'll see the success in 6 months, 12 months. And we'll give you that time. We're not going to run you off in the first 18 months. But
so how do you look at teaching these kids or anybody you're managing the organization, the planning parts of it? How do you approach that? Because I know you're a lot like me. You and I are very similar in that, like, we're both like extremely OCD. Yeah. We're very like ADD, like got to be focused, like get things done, like everything's in its place, all that stuff. How do you look at that? I mean, are you a big goal setter? You set out these mini goals to bigger goals. Like, how does that look in your world? Like, how do you approach that?
You've got to have goals. You've got to have goals. You've got to have something to stay focused on. My opinion is that you string along more good days than bad. It's a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing. And don't think of it day over day. Think of it month over month for success. String more good days along than bad. And really look at it from a perspective of, what am I learning today? Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Use everything in your arsenal. For a new person, new rep, territory manager to get into medical device sales, let's put it this way. You've got all these kids graduating from college every year.
Right.
I don't know what that number is. We'll say 25,000.
Okay.
You've got a certain amount of that are literally focused on what they're going to be, their next step is by a degree, whatever that is. Engineering. They know they're going to get into engineering. But you got a lot of guys like me with a business degree, finance, economics degree, or general studies, or God forbid, a liberal arts, or whatever the case may be. You've got a great portion, a great population of those kids that can basically do anything they want. And what have they been told? Get into sales? Yeah, probably. Some form of sales. They're all trying to get into pharmaceutical sales. So you've got this huge influx of kids trying to get into pharma sales. They do that. The ones that are hired do that for 3-4 years. The ones that rise to the top. They win their President's Club. They do their awards. They get their trips. They look around and they go, okay, now I got to get into medical device sales. That's the next step.
Okay.
Well, the odds of getting into medical device sales is that much leaner. It's just that much more competitive. So a very small portion of those guys move into medical device sales. They do it for how many years? 3, 4 years, 5 years. They knock the cover off the ball. They promote. They look around and go, now I got to get in. I'm selling catheters or whatever. Now I've got to get into OR. I've got to go to the OR because that's the pinnacle. Working in the operating room. They just got that much more competitive. And we give opportunities to some of these guys straight out of college to give them an opportunity to work in the OR. They skip all those steps.
Oh, that's impressive. That's awesome.
We give them that opportunity. And, the training aspect is the product, the anatomy, physiology, pathology, all of that. But it's really you. And I tell them all, as early as you can, brand yourself. however that is. Brand yourself. Because when you leave my company and you go to work for some other company, your customer's going to buy from you. They're not going to buy just because you switch companies. They're not going to stop buying just because you switch companies. They're going to buy from you. And years ago, I'm sitting in Texas Health Presby here in Dallas, Texas, working with a doctor, interventional radiologist. And he looks at me and he goes, I need you to bring your product up to the operating room. We're going to see if we can use it in the OR. It's never been used in the OR. And I was like, no, it's never been used in the OR. All right, let's try it. Can we try it? I was like, yeah. So he introduces me to the general surgeon. I walk in and I looked at the general surgeon the day we walked into the operating room and we're talking. And I looked down, he's in scrubs and boots. I was like, why didn't I ever think of that? I've always worn tennis shoes just like everybody else. Well, that following week, I put boots on underneath my scrubs. Ended up changing career in medical device. I ended up going from there into ophthalmology, which is where I am now.
Yeah.
And I wore boots the whole time. No matter where I go in the United States of America, those surgeons know when they hear those boots come down the OR floor that Brad's there. So brand yourself early. And I didn't do it early enough, I don't think. So figure out a way to brand yourself, set yourself apart, because people will buy from you regardless of what it says on your scrubs. And I tell those kids that too. You know, it's long term, man. It's not something that happens overnight. That's your success right there. You know, and staying credible, because it's very
what you
important.
say you're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't know the answer. You don't know the answer. As soon as you discard credibility in the operating room, you won't be invited back. But you know, all those questions are brought up. You know, it's they're not brought up immediately because they're not thought of immediately. You know, and it takes months and months and months into the process before these kids look at you and go, "All right, I need to know how to get in the operating room." You know, I'm 3 weeks into this opportunity here. I'm 3 weeks into my job. I don't know how to get in the OR. And my answer is the easiest way to get in the OR is to already be in the OR. At that point, you're asking to come back. But calling a clinic, speaking to a scheduler and saying, can I come into the OR with your surgeon next week? That's not going to fly.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do. So utilize everything, your entire arsenal. And if that means partnering up with your industry partners, can you introduce me to this person? Can you get me in the OR with you? Then you're in the OR.
Yeah.
You know, and these kids we're teaching that now.
Finding ways to
navigate it through to be successful. And it's chipping away, just chipping away.
How have you approached teaching them to brand themselves?
Getting familiar, getting comfortable in your own skin, figuring out who you are. I kind of liken it to Yoda, the Jedi Master.
I don't know if it's coming.
It's either Yoda or Neo from the Matrix. You know, getting to the point where you're so comfortable that whatever happens in the OR doesn't shake you, because it's a very stressful situation if you've never been in it. It's very stressful. So getting so comfortable that, or dodging that bullet, bending around that bullet, you know, doing the Yoda thing, becoming that Jedi Master in your own skin helps speed that process up.
Yeah, because I mean, you're probably really limited though. Like, I mean, like your boot example is great, but then like, where do you go from there? Like, because I mean, you're limited at what you can, excuse me, what you can wear, you're absolutely limited. Can and can't do.
You're in and out of their clothes.
Room,
you're in and out of their clothes. You're covering up your boots.
Yeah.
You know, but for me personally, it was something that helped me reach that comfort level. Of becoming that next level and finding that, you know, everybody's gonna be a little bit different, you know. We've got athletes, we've got former professional football players, you know, everybody works in this industry.
Yeah.
You've got guys that, you know, just got lucky, like me. You know, there wasn't really anything special. A guy gave me a chance, and in return, that's what we want to do. We want to give chances. So it's been fun in that sense, but it really is left up to you. You can take a mentor, buddy up. You know, I think the Navy SEALs have a buddy system. Buddy up. Find a buddy in the industry. Every day, talk to that buddy. You know, if it doesn't happen organically, make it happen. Spend hours on the phone learning, and talking to those kids, talking to a counterpart across the country. Hey, this is happening here. Is it happening there? No, it's not happening here. Every territory is a little bit different, so it's all a bit of a different dynamic depending on where you are, who you are, what's bouncing off of you, and all of that. But the success really is dependent on, in my opinion, 80% is getting up every morning and putting that effort.
Absolutely.
That's hard to teach.
I mean, if you're not putting in the work, you're not going to go anywhere.
Nothing I can do to help you.
Find that one thing you can focus on that's going to improve whatever it is you're trying to do. Focus on that one thing. Limit it down. You can't. If you try to do 10 things in one day, you're not going to do all 10. So every day that to-do list just gets longer because you got 6 things. Whereas if you just focused on that one thing that would really matter that day and accomplish that, one thing that everything else really doesn't matter as much. But if you did that one thing, what is that one thing you could do that would actually improve or make a change towards what you're trying to accomplish?
That's really it, and at the end of the day, it's getting comfortable, it's settling in, it's learning, and being able to talk about it. I had a friend of mine before I moved to my old neighborhood. He's retired from Texas Instruments, engineer guy, and he looked at me and he said, "Man, I don't know how you do what you do for a living." And I looked at him, I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "How you sell?" And I said, "Well, Tom," I said, "Man, I really don't feel like I've ever sold anything in my life." "What do you mean?" I said, "I just go in and talk. Go in and have a conversation with my customers."
Yeah.
And over time, here's how I can help you out. If I can't help you out, I know these people who can.
Yeah.
It's building that consultative type of relationship with them, and they start to depend on you, and that pays
Helping
out
solve problems
tenfold. Yeah. All of a sudden, I've got surgeons calling me from South Texas going, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing surgery at this place. Can you help me out?"
I talked to my buddy over here, and he said you helped him solve this problem.
Yeah.
Can you help me solve this problem?
Yeah. If you can't, you know someone that can.
Yeah.
And that pays out in dividends over the years. Absolutely, it does.
Yeah, I tell my guys the same thing. Like a lot of my estimators, it's like when you get called out there for the estimate, and they'll complain to me like, "Well, you sent me out here for this. Well, I ended up being here all day because they gave me 10 other things." I'm like, "That's great. Did you ask them if they have any other problems that you can help them with? Did you treat that maintenance guy, the leasing agent, the assistant manager, the manager the same way as if that was the head of construction that you know, and try to help them solve whatever problems they're having? Or did you go in there with that piss ass attitude of, man, I came here to look at this. I wasn't planning on helping you. I mean, I'll have to come back." No, all right, fine. We have to reschedule some things, like work around it. Like, no, you need to focus and like help them solve their problems.
Yeah, we it's very rare that it happens, but when it happens, we've got situations where we're in the OR working, or we're working with the staff around the OR, and on the way out, we think we're done, right? And this has happened to me several times over my career, but one time in particular, it happened right north of here, up in the Sherman area. I sat down with the surgeon, talked to him for a little bit, kind of got an idea of what he wanted, and on my way out, I had the OR manager walk up to me and say, she asked me, "Do you have more time today?" "Yes, ma'am. What do you need?" So we walked back to her office, and she handed me a stack of papers that thick and said, "Can you look through this and cross-reference everything you sell in your catalog to the things in this list?" And I'm looking at her going, "Yes, ma'am." And for the next 4 hours, I was line item by line item on everything I could possibly sell them. And I handed it to her at the end of the day. Walked out with a huge PO at the end of the day. Sold things the company had never sold, just by taking that time and relaxing a little bit and helping her out. And
yeah, because you didn't plan to sit there for 4
I
hours
had
and go
no
through
idea that was about to happen.
a book of
No,
statements.
nothing. They're opening up a surgery there. And they needed everything. But I was the guy that showed up. Everybody else was too busy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I tell these kids. You got to show up. Your shoulder blades need to be on that OR wall at 0630, because if they aren't, someone else's will be.
That's what I keep trying to tell my guys, especially in a time like right now. So like things are slow, like it's slower than normal. And I've got a new guy that I'm training, that I've been training for the last, 4 months. And he's not seen it be balls to the wall where you're just running and putting out fires. And, you're every day you're walking stuff from sun up to sundown and you're having to do all this stuff. Like, so instilling in him the urgency and the importance of still coming in every day, calling, checking. Don't turn like some of these guys that just go, oh, well, I don't have anything to do today. I'm just going to stay at home. I'll answer my phone. I'll answer my email. Showing these guys the importance of like, see where else you can add value. See what else you can learn today. Just because you don't have something, go right along with a project manager and watch one of the jobs he's running. You might learn something. Like, at least go do that for a few hours and then, okay, fine. You want to go do whatever for the afternoon because there isn't a job for you to go do? Fine, but you've kind of checked off these things. You've tried to add value somewhere, because if or when there was a time to start cutting people or stuff got really bad, who's going to be the first person to get cut? Yeah. The guy that's just sitting at home and not doing stuff or not adding any other value. So, I try to teach all these guys that, like, you can always find something to do. It may not be what you normally do. It may not be what you really want to do, but, you could be sitting next to me and be like, all right, show me how you do these cost sheets. I know I'm not really ready to do all this yet, but like, I want to see what goes into your side of it, or, whatever. Not many do that. So many people get content of just doing the bare minimum.
Well, they're happy. They're happy.
They're just content with that.
Well, we have it late stage too. We've got older guys, tenured guys that are happy doing that. They've kind of built a base of business, and there's no drive to increase it.
Yeah.
So we deal with that too. But my team, I'm fortunate. I've got a very strong team. It's a very diverse team too. I've got guys that are brand new to guys that have 25 years in the industry. But utilize them. In the room at any given moment, there's 200 years of experience.
Yeah.
And if you're not asking for help when you need help, shame on you. You've got an opportunity to learn from some of the best. And we really want to train them. I want to train them to a point where everybody in the industry, it's a small niche. Ophthalmology and retina, what I do in particular, it's very, very small.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows the quality reps. Everybody knows the quality people. And my goal is to train my team to the point where everybody else in the industry wants them. Yeah. I want them to try to poach them. On the flip side, I want my reps so happy where they are, they look at them and go, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's the reality, is train them. You're running the risk. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of CEOs don't understand that. They panic when they hear that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you can't do that. We're going to lose them. Not if we build the right culture.
And some people don't want to put the time in early on, like when it is slow or when things aren't just booming. But then when it's booming, then you're in panic mode.
You're catch up.
Trying to play catch up.
Yeah.
And that's not a fun place to be in either. We've done that too. And that's...
Again, I ask the question, are you happy with what's happening today? Because if you aren't, it's based on what you did 6 months ago.
Yeah.
That's really all it is for me, for my industry. If you're not happy with your pipeline, if you're not happy with your sales,
yeah,
it's because you didn't do something 6 months ago. There's that much lag. Now that you know that, change it. Be happy in 6 months. Let's re-gear, refocus, kind of put the effort back into what we need to do now for later.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it, you're gonna be in catch-up mode for the rest of your career. And then you're always running from something.
Yeah.
And it gets too small to be running.
Yeah, even in a big field like mine, you have to go through those cycles too. And it can be frustrating too, just because you have to find different ways of looking at things or approaching it, just because the easy sell's not there, or one relationship with a client has simmered, or they don't have as much stuff coming in, and then you got to kind of pump it back up to feed that back up again, and getting yourself out of the mode of just dealing with everything and trying to handle and make everybody happy, and then switching gears and going, okay, like now we got to get some more stuff coming in, because it feeds back, and everybody has their role, but you don't always look at it from that bigger picture and how you're feeding it. So your project managers are bored and they're slacking off, and then they're not caring about their jobs much. Well, that one job they didn't care about as much is the one job that now all the eyes are on them,
hanging them up,
and it's hanging them up.
Yeah.
Well, then you just made my job harder, selling more work for you to have, because you treated that one, what you thought was a piddly little job, as a piddly little job, instead of like actually caring about what you're doing.
Yeah. We don't want to overlook anything, and at the end of the day, you've got a patient laying on the table. That's kind of where my perspective is that could be your mom, it could be your grandma.
Yeah.
Take it seriously.
Yeah.
That's a human being laying there.
It's really hard to teach people some of those things, though.
Young kids.
I mean, the younger kids, and like, even like you said, there's we've got a balance of younger and older, and people that are content, people that just want to do a certain thing, but keeping it fresh in their mind of how important they actually are. I mean, I had to take a moment at our Christmas party recently and, really point out that, like, you guys don't realize, like, you guys are the bread and butter of what I do. Like, I can't do my job without you guys, the estimators, the project managers, and I'm selling what you're doing. So if what I sell doesn't match up completely because you didn't care, or you weren't paying enough attention, you didn't put the focus into, like, you didn't think this little estimate was like that big of a deal, or you didn't think this job was that important, but then a maintenance guy walks by and sees you piddling around and that this job's going haywire, or you didn't call me and tell me you had a problem, even though you're fixing it. Like, that's great. Kudos to you for taking it on and fixing it. But call me and tell me you had a problem, so that if the off person saw that you were having a problem and they call me and say, did you know about this, and that this is what's going on? And like, is this going to be a big issue? Wait, what are you talking about? If I don't know, you just jacked up a whole lot of stuff. But if I already know, and I'm like, oh yeah, man, it really wasn't that big of a deal. They already are addressing it. Yeah, they ran into this hiccup. They're handling it, and they're going to go ahead and take care of this as well, just because they want to make sure it's completely right.
Yeah.
That's a whole different scenario than, I don't know. Like, what are you talking about? Let me call you back in 5 minutes. That's a shitty position to be in. And I know people want to fix their mistakes or their problems, but you need to let the other parties know. And it's not because I'm going to come down and like start harping on you. I'm going to be happy that you're telling me about it and like, hey, like, cool, like, I can get ahead of this. And a lot of times, if I get that phone call, I'll call the client or the person that's high enough up and be like, hey, just so you know, this may not even cross your desk or your phone line, but just so you know, this is going on. We're already taking care of it. You're not going to see anything, no supplements, no change orders. If someone calls you and tells you XYZ, like, don't worry about it. It's being taken care of. We've already got it. But, I had one a month ago where the guy, a water line was hit while we were doing some demo, and it flooded out the space we were working on. I had a client calling me going, well, none of your guys are there. Your project manager's not there. Nobody's speaking English on the job site, and we're dispatching our water mitigation team to go help handle this. And this person just kind of let it go, like was trying to fix it on their own and didn't say anything. Like, dude, do you know what kind of position you just put me in?
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Like, I could have helped you. I could have helped you solve this problem. This kind of stuff happens. It's not the end of the world. Let's deal with these things. Like, how people deal with problems is a huge thing, and how you communicate that.
Well, we call it manager, you know, and I tell my guys, don't make me call you, call me.
Yeah.
You know, call me, fill me in, because we all answer to someone.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a boss that I answer to.
Yeah.
Bosses that on any given day they could call me and go, what's going on here? I don't need to be guessing, you know, fill me in on it, keep me abreast of it, and we'll stay ahead of it. There's nothing we can't do, work through.
Yeah.
Even if things do go sideways. Highly regulated, can't say certain things, have to stay to script on certain things, whatever. You know, everybody has slip-ups. Get it.
Yeah, it's going to happen. There's problems. Like construction,
Fill me
especially.
in on it. Yeah.
There's always going to be a problem.
Yeah. Keep me abreast of it.
But it's
There's
how
nothing we
you're going to
can't do.
deal with the problem.
That's right. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's again. You're going to face it head on, or you're going to fold up, you know?
And I think that's one of the things I battle, and sometimes because certain people within the company I work at, even, you know, when there is a problem, how does one person react versus the other? You know, because if you make people afraid to jump up and say, hey, I'm having a problem, or I messed this up, and you make them feel this big about it,
Oh, you can't do that.
then they're not gonna do it next time.
Yeah,
and then you're behind the 8 ball because you don't know about the problem, because they're too scared to tell you about the problem.
Yeah.
Even though they might be fixing the problem. So, you know, I try to instill that in all my guys and let them know, like, hey, I got your back. I'm selling what you guys do for a living. You know, so let's help each other out, because you keeping me informed is the best thing you can do for me to help you.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's basically it. It makes your job easier.
Yeah.
And, you know, I learned from a manager years ago, and it was probably, oh, shoot. You know, one of the best things I'd ever picked up from any manager that I've had was he always ended the phone call with, what can I do to make your job easier?
Yeah.
That was my manager asking me that.
Yeah.
What can I do to make your job easier? And that's kind of when at the time I probably didn't think much about it, but over years that meant a lot to me, you know, and that's kind of what that's
good advice.
Resurfaced to my guys is, how can I make your job easier? You know, I've been off for the last week and a half. I'm off through January, but I'm on the app every day.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm here.
I mean, we even talked about when we were planning this, you were like, hey man, I'm off the next 2 weeks. Let's make something work.
Yep.
And you're like, but even though I'm off, I've got a surgeon that like really is going to try to, you know, get this in the operating room, whatever.
27th.
And I've got to go down there, and I've got to be there.
Yeah,
like I'm going to be there.
2 days after Christmas, I'm meeting my Texas rep at Children's Hospital in Dallas.
Yeah.
You know,
so I mean, it's just that simple. It's that kind of communication.
Yeah.
Donna, I thank you for that. That's very kind of you to say. I really appreciate that. But yeah, man, it's tough. But you gotta if people have the bigger picture in mind, and it's keeping that bigger picture in mind for people, I think is a big key of that.
Yeah, and trying to teach that bigger picture earlier.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us don't get it till too late.
Yeah.
Or,
and I probably could do a better job of that too.
We all could.
Even. Yeah.
We all could. I don't think it's a never ending. It's always evolving. It's always learning. And, you know, it can always be better. Again, I defer back to what I said earlier tonight. You surround yourself with people who are better than you.
Yeah. How have you looked at that with mentors and stuff? I mean, I know, I'm not even sure the right way to ask this, just because I know you and I don't remember the specifics, but, you know, I know you've talked several times to me about, and I mean, you even mentioned a little bit earlier when you were talking about some of the people that might chime in or might not and whatnot, that how important some of the mentors have been that you've had, and that some of them are your closest friends, some of them now are your clients and everything else.
My biggest mentor professionally and moving towards personally has been a gentleman by the name of Tim Babish. He's the gentleman that facilitated the hand fasting. He's the one that married us in February last year.
Yeah.
Older gentleman. 13 years ago, 14 years ago, I walked into the boardroom of my home office and sat down next to him. Never met the guy before in my life. And, you know, you always come to a point in life where you have the fork in the road, right? You make
Yeah.
the left or the right, and you're lucky sometimes. And that day, I made the right turn in the fork, and I sat down next to this guy, and I have learned more from him professionally, from an education perspective, than I ever learned anything in college, on a bar napkin of all things.
Yeah.
This guy's smart, very intelligent. And what I mean by intelligent is he's never made a B in anything. I've seen his transcripts. He's got a master's degree. He's got 2 PhDs. He's Mensa. Very, very intelligent human being. But to the point where he can sit down with you and relate in a way that you learn at probably the most ease I've ever had or experienced in educational environment. And I've picked more up from him. So I say professionally, he's absolutely the mentor. And like I said, moving over the last few years or so, he's someone I've leaned on from a personal perspective. Another person, and he's, I don't think age has a definition or defines mentorship, but one way or another, Chase Lockwood, the phenomenal human being, professionally, we all know what he is. He's probably one of the hardest workers I've ever met. Go-getter, hustler type of guy, makes things happen, does all of it for his family. But
I've never heard the guy say a bad thing about anybody.
Anyone.
Not anyone. And I don't care how mad he is.
No.
I mean, you and I even had to talk about that one time because I offended Chase making a joke. And I didn't even realize it. And then when he approached me about it and I realized how upset he was about it, it was like, wow, man, like, I'm really sorry. Like, I had no idea that would be that you took that way and that I crossed the line with you, that was that. And that was the end of it. We hashed out and you and I had a conversation about it. I was like, man, like, was I really out of line here? And you're like, no, just that's how Chase kind of is. And it helped me understand, because at first I didn't understand. I was like, man, like, was that really out of line? Like, we were kind of just joking back like we normally do, and it's just the guys joshing out. But it was the audience, it was everything else. And I was in the wrong. And I apologized, and Chase, I forgot, he forgave me, and he went on, and
Chase has forgiven me for so much. I mean, it's
amazing.
It's absolutely
and I
amazing.
learned, and he's someone that, even though I haven't spent as much time with him as you have, like, I can't think of many more people that I respect more than Chase.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's a common denominator.
His actions demand that, and in the way he lives his life, man. I mean, I couldn't speak higher about a person.
Yeah, I think that's the common denominator with everybody in his circle, is that everybody would agree on that.
Yeah.
Good guy. Really good guy. Like I said, when I met him, there was just something, it clicks, right?
Yeah.
But it was more than that. It was whatever it takes kind of thing. Let's hang out. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, like the person's presence, you just know, like, that's a person I want to spend more time around.
Yeah, good guy.
Like, they radiate that. Like, I mean, there's just certain people like that you meet in life that light up a room, that have that presence, that do that kind of thing. And man, like, he is definitely one of those people.
Yeah, I've got a couple of those groups. I've got the group up here, and I've got a group of 5 or 6, 7 that I went to college with that I date back to late 80s, early 90s, fraternity brothers.
Yeah.
That all the years past, that's who we are now. We're still on a running text. We still talk daily, multiple times a day. We were in each other's first weddings and second weddings, and it's to the point now where one of us, we've gone to the funeral. So it's full circle with this group of guys, and that's another group. Those guys are tremendous human beings and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Full-blown just gentleman, with the definition of a gentleman.
Yeah. I think one of the cool things you said too when you were talking about some of the mentors in your life is too that, like, you took the opportunity to sit down next to someone that you may or may not have felt up to their level, that you may have known was a little out of your league, but it was a table you wanted to sit at, and you sat down at that table until you became to a point where you felt comfortable and accepted at that table. Like, and so many people don't take that opportunity just because they don't feel like they belong at that table, or that they deserve to be at that table, or they should be at that table, whatever the litany of reasons that they can come up with in one's head when that moment approaches. But I see more people, especially that I talk to and sit down with like this on the podcast, that at some point there was an opportunity to sit down at a table with someone, somebody, or some people that was where they wanted to be but didn't felt like they should be yet, but they went ahead and did it anyways, and that was one of those points.
Yeah, it's against that evolution, that direction, that progression of becoming comfortable, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah,
you can't deny it. You know,
yeah.
There's gonna be uncomfortable situations, and it's gonna be new situations, whatever. Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just get into that frame of mind, and it will help you evolve into that person that you hopefully will be. You know, that Yoda.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
all right, man. Let's. There's a couple questions we ask everybody on the show. I'm looking forward to this because we didn't go down as many rabbit holes as I thought you and I were going to. We were on our best behavior tonight. This is.
I want to make sure you get any sponsorship opportunity.
Yeah,
down the road.
No cancel culture here. Yeah, we definitely could have achieved that if we really wanted to. If you could leave the two boys with one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Always treat whoever you meet under whatever circumstance with the utmost respect, because you never know when it's going to come back.
Absolutely.
And I refer to their mother.
Yeah.
It didn't work out in 1993, but we stayed above boards, completely 100% respect, and then 30 something years later, look at us,
Yeah.
That 11th grade girl that you're sitting behind in class that is aggravating you, be nice to her.
Yeah.
Because
that girl
you never
thought
know.
was like 15 when she was like 18.
That's the one. Always be nice to her, because you never know, and that goes for anything, just be respectful, be a gentleman.
Yeah. All right. Now's your free for all. So it's called Common Sense. You get to give everybody Brad's 2 cents. It could be about whatever. Something I didn't ask you that you wanted to talk about tonight. It could just be your 2 cents, be something you've been thinking about, whatever's on your mind, your whatever statement. It can just be Brad's 2 cents.
Then there's really no secret. My philosophy in life has been really simple, and it was finding that support, finding that group, finding that structure that really and truly holds you to a higher standard, because at the end of the day, bring yourself up. Don't bring yourself down. And if everybody around you is successful, if everybody around you is, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're wanting to run faster, go hang out with people who are faster. If you're wanting to lift heavier weight, go hang out with guys who are lifting heavy weight. Hang out with that group of people, and hopefully it's a very dynamic, diverse, well-rounded group that does a lot of things well. You don't have to do a lot of things fantastic. Do a lot of things well, and that will hold you to a higher standard in life, in my opinion. It's kind of my philosophy. This is not really a big secret.
Yeah.
And it's like you. I remember when we went to the gun range, you asked me, well, how'd you meet these guys? And we met them, and this is kind of the group we formed. Fortunately, it's all fallen apart a little bit over the years. Everybody's moved away, and but we need to be proactive moving forward about getting some of these guys back together again, in my opinion. So that next stage in life is coming fast.
Yeah, man. I couldn't agree with you more, man. That's great advice. It's, real talk. And that's what we always shoot for, man. So, man, I want to thank you for coming and doing this with me,
Absolutely, man.
Like, this is cool to just catch
Yeah, I
up
hope
on
you
here.
guys have a Merry Christmas, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope you guys have a great time over the holidays with your family and friends. Do yourself a favor. Put your phone down when you're with your family and friends. Enjoy their company. Spend some time with them. Put the other distractions aside for a little bit. And we're going to be coming back with you guys right after. You guys will see some posts, but right after the first of the year, we're going to kick this back off. I already have a couple guests lined up that I think you guys are going to be really excited to see on here. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. If you have people you would like to see on the show, send them to the website, commonsensethepodcast.com. It's really easy to get people signed up on there. They can reach out to me, contact me directly on there. You guys check that out. We should have some merch on there shortly after the first of the year as well. We're working on that over the holidays. So you guys want some Common Sense swag, we're going to have some hats, some shirts. You'll see me sporting it. You guys know how I like to sport all the stuff I like, and I'm going to make some cool stuff so that we can all enjoy that as well. We're going to have some cool stuff. My buddy Shane, he made these awesome coasters for us. If you guys can see that on there, hopefully. But we're going to have some stuff like that we're going to put out there. Maybe we'll do some cigar stuff with the ICC guys. Maybe we're even going to do some Glens for the bourbon and stuff like that. But if you guys got some people you want to see on the show, reach out, send them my way. And if you guys are enjoying the show, please go in, leave us a review, like, comment, share, whatever you can do. That actually helps more than you guys know and helps push it out there. I hope you guys are enjoying some of the shorts and the reels that we're putting out. You're going to see a lot more of that over the next 2 weeks because we've got that down now, and people seem to be really liking that. Like, I want to say the first one we put out has over 6,000 views now, which is awesome. We really appreciate you guys' support. But whatever platform you guys like us on, please go in, like it, give us a review, give us a rating. Tell us what you like, don't like. Feedback is awesome. We wish we had more of it. We get some, but I would love to hear what you guys would like to see more of, less of. You guys want to see changes, throw them out there. We're going to be revamping a little bit over the next 2 weeks, and then we'll be coming back strong with you guys in 2024. But be safe, and y'all hang in there.